So inshallah now we will enter into Muqaddimah Hadramiyyah. And last week we have entered into the conditions on the validity of Jama'ah prayers. So we mentioned a few things. We spoke about condition number one. Condition number one, the author speaks about the stand of the ma'mum, that the ma'mum should not be in front of the ma'mum, whether the imam is standing or sitting or lying down. And then we spoke about condition number two, that the ma'mum must know the movements of the imam. The ma'mum, he must know the movements of the imam. If the ma'mum does not know the movement of the imam, it's not valid. His prayer is not valid. If you are praying behind an imam, for example, and you do not see the imam, you do not see the imam and you do not hear the imam, and then you are wondering what is imam doing now? Khalas, and if you say your prayer becomes invalidated. So minimum, we can hear the imam, or we follow the person in front of us, even though we don't see the imam, but we know the imam is ruku', the imam is doing sujood. So this is the meaning when we speak about that the ma'mum must know the movements of the imam. So our lesson today, we have come into the third condition. This is what the author mentioned, ash-shartu salis. Now these are the things we have to pay attention, because this is happening in our mosques. Many people asking such questions. The author mentioned this in concise, Muqaddimah Hadramiyyah concise, but it carries a lot of meanings. So he said, an yajtami'a fi masjidin. Now the first thing he speaks about is masjid. Before anything else, we need to make a differentiation. What is a masjid? What is not a masjid? What is a masjid? And what is not a masjid? When we speak about masjid here, we are speaking about a land, not necessarily a building, a land that is intended for masjid, meaning a person, for example, and he make the intention of endowment lil musalla, and he makes an intention waqf this land for masjid. Now this land becomes a masjid. This land becomes a masjid. So it is not the same. For example, if I bought a shop, for example, and I want to make a prayer place in the shop, I do not make any intention. I just bought a building, and I want to make this building as a place of prayer. Now this is not a masjid. This is a musalla. This is a place of prayer. But is it a masjid? No, it's not a masjid. It's not a masjid in the definition of the fuqaha here. So here the author mentioned an yajtami'a fi masjidin. So this masjid is a masjid that is waqaf, for example. So for example, the old building, Masjid Khalid. In our mother Imam Shafi, this building that we are now, this is not masjid. This is musalla. This is a temporary site. This is not considered to be a masjid. This is a musalla. But the old masjid, yes, it is a masjid. Masjid Sultan, for example, in Singapore, Masjid Sultan, no doubt it is a masjid. This is Jami'. This masjid that is Jami'. It is a main mosque, one of the main mosques in Singapore. So when we enter into the masjid, then we have to know where is the place where there is a masjid, and where is the place which is not any part of the masjid. Because when we enter into the mosque has the walkways. The mosque has walkways, and then there is the toilet. Now this is not part of the masjid. So usually in our country, the part of the masjid is the carpeted areas. Usually it is a carpeted areas, but it is not necessary. Sometimes also there is carpeted areas, but it's not part of the masjid. If you go to Masjid Abdul Razak, the carpeted areas is masjid, but the non-carpeted areas is not masjid. So when you enter the mosque, the tile is not any masjid. The tile is not masjid. It's just in a walkway. It is just a walkway. So when you enter into the door, the sliding door, that is the masjid. In our old mosque, Masjid Khalid, easy, because platform. The old masjid, when you go up the stairs, the small stairs, that is the masjid. But once you go out of the stairs, you are out of the masjid. So this is important for us to make differentiation. Why? Later on, we will see the rulings is not the same. The rulings is not the same. Praying inside the masjid, praying outside the masjid. These are the things that we have to pay attention. So he said, an yajtami'a fi masjidin wa in ba'udatil masafa. MashaAllah, he said that if you are in a masjid, wa in ba'udatil masafa, meaning if the imam is so far from you, no problem, your prayer is valid. Because you are in the masjid. You are in the masjid. It's different if you're outside the masjid. It's different if you're outside the masjid. Outside the masjid, there are boundaries. There are limitations. But now, if you are inside any the masjid, وَإِن بَعُدَتِ الْمَسَافَةِ, because some mosques, for example, it is so big. For example, imagine you are praying Masjid Nabawi. The Imam is at the mimbar, you are at the back. Imagine there's not much jama'ah. You are at the last saf and you are praying and behind the Imam. Your prayer is valid. Likewise in the Masjid al-Haram, for example. Your prayer is valid, even though there's nobody in front of you. Even though there is nobody in front of you. As long as you are in the masjid, your prayer is valid. But of course, the condition that you know the movements of the Imam, then your prayer is valid. وَإِن بَعُدَتِ الْمَسَافَةِ. This point number 1. Then he mentioned وَحَالَةِ الْأَبْنِي. Or sometimes in the masjid, there is a door. There is like some mosques. Like for example, you have the women's section. We have the women's section. Imagine the Imam is praying. And the women's section, there is a door that is locked. Can we imagine this? Imagine that there is a barrier inside the masjid where the woman is praying behind. The woman is praying behind. Some mosques, this barrier is made of it's like a wall, or it is like made of wood. It is not something that you can remove. It is permanent. And then there is a door that is locked. A door that is locked. And there are women who are praying behind this wall or this wooden structure, for example. Will the prayer of the woman be valid? So point number 1, again, we ask the question, is this a masjid or not a masjid? If you say this is a masjid, then khalas, their prayer is valid. Even though the door is locked. This is what the author is saying. وَأُغْلِقَ الْبَابِ. The door is locked. The door is locked. Meaning what? You cannot go to the Imam. You cannot go to the Imam. The door is not open. The prayer is still valid. بِشَرْطِ إِمْكَانِ الْمُرُورِ. With the condition that the Ma'mum can reach the Imam in whatever situation. The Ma'mum can reach the Imam. So maybe I give us another example, easier. Imagine mosque, two-story mosque. So those who are praying in the second story, how are they able to reach the Imam? They have to move backwards. Because they cannot move. They cannot move to the front. So the only way for them to reach the Imam is to move backwards to the stairs behind. So the condition here, the author is saying, as long they can reach the Imam in whatever movement they can, their prayer will be valid. So we do not impose the condition that they must reach the Imam from the front or from the side. It is not applicable to those who are praying inside the masjid. That is applicable to those who are praying outside the masjid, which will come later. So this is the thing, and he mentioned number 1, وَإِن بَعُدَتِ الْمَسَافَةِ. Even if the distance between the Imam and the Ma'mum is far, more than 150 meters, because that is the maximum. Even if it is more than 150 meters. وَحَالَةِ الْأَبْنِيَّةِ. What you call it? The Ma'mum cannot reach the Imam because of walls. Or the Ma'mum is in a particular room, for example. And the Ma'mum cannot reach the Imam by the front or by the side. وَأُغْلِقَ الْبَابِ. That the door is locked. بِشَرْطِ إِمْكَانِ الْمُرُورِ. As long as the Ma'mum can reach the Imam in whatever situation, the prayer of the Ma'mum is valid. So a person who is praying the second floor, for example, of a masjid, the prayer is valid. The prayer is valid, even though he cannot reach the Imam by moving to the front or the side. But he can reach the Imam by moving backwards. So that is why we say the prayer is valid. فَإِنْ كَانَ فِي غَيْرِ masjid. So now the author he is going to speak about if it is not a masjid. If it is not a masjid. So now there are certain things that we have to be careful. Because when we speak about masjid, again, you see, masjid, there is the walkways. We have to pay attention to the walkways. Because you enter into a mosque, not every land there is a mosque. Clear enough? Not every place is a masjid. Even you enter into the masjid, because when you enter into the gate, this is not a masjid. Correct? Not? The place where you put your shoes. Is it a masjid? No, it is not a masjid. It is not a masjid. And then the walkways, are the walkways at the masjid? No, the walkways is not. a masjid. So where is any the masjid? Normally, as what I mentioned in our context, and it is carpeted areas. طيب. Now, if a person and is praying outside the masjid, not necessarily praying outside the gate of the masjid, he might be praying inside, but not at the boundaries any of the masjid. Not the boundaries any of the masjid. طيب. This is the ruling any of praying outside the masjid. So he said, if a person is praying outside the masjid, في غير مسجد اشترط له أن لا يكون بينهما وبين كل صفين أكثر من 300 ذراع تقريبا. It's about 150 meters. 300 ذراع. 300 any arm's length. About any 150 meters. So if a person is praying outside the masjid, he cannot be further than the imam more than 150 meters. If the imam is at one particular place, and he is 200 meters and behind the imam, and there is nobody in between the saf, the prayer is not valid. The prayer is not valid. Unless if he is inside the masjid. This is what we mentioned earlier. I gave the example of Masjid Nabawi and Masjid Haram. If we say that the end of Masjid Nabawi, for example, 200 meters. If the imam is praying, doing corona, there's only any two saf, Masjid Nabawi. Someone any prays at the last saf. Is the prayer valid? Yes, the prayer valid. Because he's in the masjid. We do not take into consideration any how far the ma'mum is from the imam. But if a person is outside the masjid, then it's about 150 meters. Salasumia zira. This is what the author already mentioned. Takriban. This on ijtihad. It is based on ijtihad. That's why he said takriban. Fala yaduru ziyadatu salasati zira. There is no harm if you were to add any 3 arms. Because whenever something is based on ijtihad, remember this, whenever something is based on ijtihad, it is not any something that is fixed. A bit of changes is accepted. Just like any qullatain. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned, إذا بلغ الماء قلتين فلا يحمل خبث أو كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم. If water reach any qullatain. Our scholars differ on the meaning of qullatain. And again in Muqaddimah Hadramiyyah, the author speaks about if there is a decrease in ratl or ratlain, it is forgiven. Because anything that is based on ijtihad, it is not something that is fixed. Certain any variations and it can be accepted. And then he mentioned after that, وَأَلَّا يَكُونَ بَيْنَهُمَا جِدَارٌ. This is very important. أَلَّا يَكُونَ بَيْنَهُمَا جِدَارٌ. Between the imam and the ma'mum, there should not be a wall. There should not be a wall in a sense that the ma'mum cannot reach the imam. Cannot reach the imam. Unless if the ma'mum, for example, move back. If the ma'mum has to move back and to reach the imam, the prayer of the ma'mum is. But nowadays, we have this issue of sliding doors, because a lot of mosques have sliding doors because of the aircon. But now the author mentioned Bab al-Mughlaq, door that is closed. Door that is closed. So we cannot close the door. We cannot close the door. Aw mardud, whether we lock it or we shut it. Can you see? See, there is a difference between Mughlaq and mardud. What is the difference? Mughlaq meaning you lock. So in the case of sliding door, can we lock the sliding door? Yes, we can. How do you lock any sliding door? By pressing the button. You press the button, the door becomes locked. But when we say mardud, meaning what? Meaning we close it without locking it. Both is not permissible. Both is not permissible. Some people do not understand this, and they saw any sliding door, then they thought of the aircon. They say that if I don't close this door, it will be a waste. Aircon and it will come out. But the miskin and the jama'ah outside, mashallah, they are praying, they are hoping. They are hoping that nobody close the door. Sometimes we pray, subhanallah, some people do not understand. While praying, they close the door. So this becomes a problem. So we should not be closing the door if we understand. We understand there are people praying. There are people praying outside. Aw shubbak. Shubbak is a window. But if a person use the logic, but we can climb the window. I can reach the imam by climbing. No. It's not about climbing. And it is about going into the imam, in a way that is normal, in a sense that we can move normally. Not speaking about that we can climb a wall or we can climb a window. That is not permissible if that when comes to windows. ولا يدور تخلل الشارع والنهر الكبير والبحر بين السفينتين. There are so many exceptions here. The author mentioned if there is a street in between. So imagine now the imam is at the other side of the street. We are praying at the other side of the street. So there is a road in between. So road any in between there are cars any passing by, people they passing by. Is our prayer any valid? Yes, and our prayer valid. And this one no problem. And we can reach the Imam. One Nahar al Kabir, when comes any to river, this is an exception. When comes any to river, what you call it, the prayer any is still valid. The prayer any is still valid. Likewise, any when comes any to the sea, baina safinatain, meaning the Imam any is on one ship, Ma'mum is on the other ship. The Imam any is on one ship, Ma'mum is on the other ship. In between any is the sea. It is permissible. Likewise, Imam any is at the bank of the river, and the Ma'mum is at the other side of the river. The prayer any is valid. This is exceptional case. وَإِذَا وَقَفَ أَحَدُهُمَا فِي سُفْلٍ وَالْآخَرُ فِي عُلُوٍ اشْتُرِطَ مُحَاذَاةُ أَحَدِهِمَا الْآخَرِ فِي غَيْرِ الْمَسْجِدِ وَالْآكَامِ. Yani the author and he mentioned now any different scenario. So now the Imam any, for example, and he is praying. The Imam any is praying. And the Ma'mum any is on top. The Ma'mum any is on top. So the author any is saying that the condition any of the validity of the prayer of the Ma'mum is that the Ma'mum must hit any the Imam. Hit any the Imam, meaning it is not permissible any for the Ma'mum to be on top any of the Imam. In the sense that if the Ma'mum, the feet any of the Ma'mum does not reach any the tip any of the head any of the Imam. This is what I meant any by hitting any the Imam. Tamam? So the Imam any is at the first level, the Ma'mum is on the second level. The author any is saying that there must be muhadha. Part any of the body of the Ma'mum any must reach part any of the body any of the Imam. But of course what we study in our madhab is that it is permissible. It is permissible. There is a qawl, there is an opinion that says that the Ma'mum any must hit any the Imam. It says وَإِذَا وَقَفَ أَحَدُمَا فِي سُفْلٍ وَالْآخَرُ فِي عُلُوٍ اشْتِرَطَ مُحَاذَاةُ أَحَدِهِمَا الْآخَرِ فِي غَيْرِ الْمَسْجِدِ وَالْآكَامِ. And this is again any other than the masjid. Other any than the masjid and other any than the hills. I believe any in the sharh, yani will mention any the mu'tamad any in the madhab that even any if the Imam the Ma'mum does not hit any the Imam, the prayer any of the Ma'mum any is valid. So imagine the Imam is on a platform, like a stage. Imam is on the stage. The Ma'mum any is below. So the head any of the Imam is above any the Ma'mum. Will any our prayer be valid? The prevailing judgment in our madhab any it is valid. But there are opinions any that mention that it is not valid unless any if it is a masjid. Unless if it is in a masjid. So but here any the author any speaks any about this any condition. Yeah, inshallah next week because any of the adhan next week any we will continue any from here inshallah. We will speak any again any about some differences any in this issue any inshallah. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Alhamdulillah.